Alright, so we're back with another week of the glorious Katekyo Hitman REBORN, and until the day I get another one, we are at chapter 116. Now this is the double page cover spreader, everything. The real first page as they open up, right, is actually this right here in chrome, or what she used to be known as Nagi. That's her original hairstyle before she cut it and everything. But oh shoot, I forgot I had that. All right, boom. So as we, like I said, we're at chapter 116, and with this chapter continuing off with chapter 115, we basically got the background story of Chrome and how she came to be, and how she and Mukuro basically started to interact with each other, got close, and now, we are where we are. So as we come to find out with Chrome, she originally was from a family that was well off, but she got into an incident and come to find out her parents weren't really being good parents. And the fact that their daughters lost several organs in the car crash, as well as losing her left eye, they couldn't bother to even donate blood, let alone organs, for the survival of their daughter, because she didn't act like normal kids. Okay, so while she is in the operation, not in the operation room, but in the critical area, right, for severity of patients, that's when she went into a dreams like state, and that's where she met Mukuro. And from there, Mukuro has been providing Chrome, in order for her to sustain life, imaginary illusion organs. Okay, because nobody gave her any. They didn't transfer any organs to her because of her parents and all that stuff. So right now, her life is hanging by the thread of fake imaginary organs. Okay, and during the fight with her and Mamon, due to her being overwhelmed by Mamon's powers and illusions, she in return, it was starting to affect her. Remember, at the end of the day, illusions affect the mind greatly. So the more you allow it to affect your mind, the more it actually does take effect. So if you believe the illusion of being cold is real, guess what? You're going to feel cold. And what Mamon did was break the trident. And that trident was basically her connection to Mukuro. And by breaking the trident, allowed the illusion organs to disappear, and she was dying on the spot. And this is when Mukuro decided to come in. He appeared in basically a blanket of smoke, okay, of mist, and he finally has made his reappearance for the first time since the Kyoko land arc. Okay, so as we're getting into the chapter and everything, he's laughing and everything, and everybody's wondering who he is. Obviously, the only people that really do know who Mukuro is Suna, Yamamoto, Gokudera, and Reborn. And might I add, how Mukuro came here, especially because of Chrome, is very interesting, because they detail in the chapter how, more so not even Chrome, but how Mukuro became a guardian. Okay, so before we get into that, Mukuro makes a stance, and then he goes to attack Mamon instantly as soon as he appeared, right? Telling, you're showing off a little bit, for being a mafia. You're calling yourself an illusionist, right? One of the top rate illusionists, yet who are you showing off for? Yourself or for your boss that's sitting right behind you, right? I mean, like, seeing Mukuro in this kind of new style is making me happy. I like Mukuro. I do. I like Mukuro's character. So now that he's here, obviously it gives you a sense of, okay, we understand why Chikusa and why Ken are there, because obviously they broke out of the Vendis prison. Okay, so Mukuro is finally here. He is the actual true Miss Guardian. Chrome is more like of the stand-in for Mukuro. Mukuro made his big appearance and everything, and come to find out that even Mamon knows who Mukuro is. So this is where Mamon starts explaining that how it was word around, you know, the mafia groups and everybody in the organization and everything, that someone was trying to escape from the Bendis prison, but they failed in their escape attempt and got brought back in. So then that makes you think, okay, but that can't be true because Ken and Chikusa are there and Mukuro is there. So the escape attempt succeeded, right? So it's like, what, where was Mamon's information? I understand that, like, you know, with the intel and they get, especially because the Varia is the assassination group, but also they get word about anything that is happening in the mafia world, so their intel is none to second. So hearing that information, someone, whoever was spreading that rumor, probably didn't give all the full details, because obviously Ken and Chikusa are free. Okay, they left the Bendis, they escaped from them, and are walking around as free men. Okay, like as nothing ever happened when they got arrested in the first place. So while Mamon is saying that and also, not like I've been mentioning before, but the Bendis, knowing that the Bendis is basically mafia law, that if you are taken by them to go to prison, it's hard to escape. They even explained that in this chapter, that, like, you know, it's a very hard, the prison itself is almost impenetrable and inescapable. So how is it possible that you guys are able to escape, you know? So this does shock Suna. You see in the panel that Suna is very shocked and everything, and even Mukuro is like, you know, condemning Mamon is in their sense of information, where they got their information. So Mamon decides, you know, enough chit chat, I'ma handle you because you are a big problem. I thought I had problems with the girl, but no, you got to go. That tells you Mukuro is a major threat. For an illusionist, Mukuro is one of the, if not the strongest illusionist in the series. So Mamon decides to go on the attack and hit Mukuro with an illusion blizzard, all the cold. So everybody's getting affected again. As they stated in the chapter, the more you are in effect of an illusion taking place, the more likely your mind is going to, because remember, again, at the end of the day, all the illusions affects the mind. So this will lead people to believing more into the illusion, and therefore it'll actually start to affect them. So while this is happening and Mamon is using the same ability that they use on Chrome, freezing her by her legs, they use the same freezing cold illusion to start freezing Mukuro, starting from his legs all the way till it basically encompasses his entire body. And then we had where Mamon decides to get like a mallet for a face, using illusion ability to make a mallet of a face, then charges straight for Mukuro. Mind you, Mukuro is encased in ice, right? Tries to go straight for Mukuro's head. And then this is where Mukuro uses the ability again to shoot up lava from the floor, stopping Mamon from attacking him. And then he uses some type of like vineyard vine flowers to trap Mamon. Okay, and the vines, even though you can't tell, but the vines are tightening on Mamon, that Mamon can feel the pain of them tightening on them. Okay, they're getting squeezed to death by these vines. So while that is happening, then and even Mamon is like, bro, what is this power? Oh. But anywho, right? Even while everybody's observing the fight, even where Reborn and Colonel are saying that, you know, as talented as Mamon is, they're getting overwhelmed by Mukuro, right? Even where we have Bella's just like, because none of them really hurt except for Mamon, and of course, if you know, Suna, Yamamoto, Gokudera, and Reborn, they're the ones who interacted because they were the ones who were attacked originally by Mukuro and his crew. So this is where now Reborn, it kind of just reminds me of like, is Gojo the strongest, or are we the strongest because of Gojo's health? This is where Reborn now is saying, with Mukuro now, and Mukuro being physically there in the gymnasium having this fight with Mamon, we have where Reborn makes this remark saying that you cannot consider Chrome and Mukuro to be separate beings. Because there is Chrome, Mukuro can exist. Because there is Mukuro, Chrome can live. And it makes sense because through Chrome, Mukuro can appear anywhere because he made a deal with her. For illusion organs, he should be able to use her to his disposal. So they have that mutual agreement with each other, right? So it makes sense in that regard. So then we have, going back to where Mukuro was choking the daylights out of Mamon with the vines, but Mamon was able to multiply themselves and is trying to attack Mukuro, but Mukuro used remember where his eyes, well, the reincarnation, sixth path reincarnation eye starts to glow. That's basically him using the path of Shura, so it enhances his fighting capabilities, right? So that happens. This is where now Mamon, again, still being so very overwhelmed because Mukuro just popped out of nowhere, but Mukuro is one-sidedly dominating the fight now. Because at first it started kind of equal with Mamon versus Chrome, but eventually Mamon was just overwhelming Chrome. But ever since Mukuro made his appearance, Mamon had to keep upping themselves, had to keep on going on stronger because Mukuro was just too much. Okay, so now we have where Mamon is disorientating the entire gymnasium. The entire gymnasium is being torn apart, looking like a whirlwind. Everybody's being affected because it's just like, again, as we know, it's playing on the mind. And the more that they're in this environment, the more it's going to be harder for them to differ between reality and what is unreal, what is illusions, right? So it's affecting everybody. Everybody's, we even have like where Ryohei and Basil are like, yo, I'm kind of getting sick. You understand how trippy that is? You know, like to the point where you're getting, not only you're feeling cold, you're feeling hot, but now like because of how disjointed everything feels, you feel like you're nauseated. Okay. So as this fight is just, you know, basically just a trickery of the mind in the most weirdest way possible. This is where Mukuro's just like, man, this is really, like, I thought you were strong, but you know, this is child's play. Then he goes on to using, not even State of Shura, but again, he's blasting off multiple walls of fire all over the gymnasium to trap Mamon, okay? And everybody, like I said, everyone is getting affected. Everyone is getting corrupted by the illusions. And then this is the most worrying part of this chapter, because then we have where Suna, like, again, when Suna knows Mukuro is close by, he starts shivering. He starts to get overwhelmed, very nervous. But this case and scenario, and I think this has to play more into his hyper intuition, that not only can he feel things like danger incoming, almost very similar to, like, I would clearly say like Spidey sense in that regard, but also he can kind of get memories. Hyper intuition not only allows him to feel any incoming danger or anything that can possibly happen to him or anyone around him, but he has the ability to see the past, see memories, right? So he's actually looking in, the headaches that he's getting is making him look into the memories of Mukuro. So the memories is clearly showing, and as they're, you know, Mukuro and Mamon are still fighting, we have it where now Suna is kind of like in Mukuro's mind, and then he's seeing water, and then he sees Mukuro's body, basically like if you were going to a mental institution, you know, and they had you in robes tied up, and then he's in a tank. with a bunch of wires sticking from his body, his eye being covered and everything, and he's breathing in a tank full of water, right? And he's chained up. He's chained up, right? And then Suna's just like, whoa, what's going on? So now the further he's going into the memories now, he's seeing where Mukuro, Chikusa, and Ken are trying to escape from the prison. Mind you, as they're trying to escape the prison, you can tell that they had obvious injuries, meaning they had to fight their way out. And right now, they're like in a place trying to figure out, how are we going to escape this place? Because, bro, we're already suffering right now. Like, how are we going to trick the Vendis for us to get out of this place and go back to what we were doing, right? Now we have it where Mukuro, you know, he's analyzing the entire situation, and he realizes that, you know, the prison has it's basically an impenetrable fortress, as I said before. So, case in scenario, their way of escape might be pretty slim, okay? And then he suggested that all three of them split, because with them two tagging along with him will make him slower, and it will make the chances of escape even harder than what it is. Mind you, this was all a ploy to make Ken and Chikusa escape by themselves, okay? And then he stays back so he can get caught. And then they throw him back into a deeper, more harder cell to come out of, because in the first place, more than likely, they were thrown into like standard like jail cells. I don't know. We didn't see what type of cells all three of them were thrown into. But since they were able to break out of that, they said, okay, no, we caught you. You allowed the other two to run away. You decided to get caught, to stay behind and get caught. No, you are the ringleader. You're dangerous. So guess what? We're going to throw you to the bottom of bottom cells. And hence, what Suna's seeing is that's probably one of the bottom cells in the Vendi's prison. And it's the cell that's keeping him in a tank, chained up, because of how much of a threat Mukuro is to the entire place. Like, I can probably guess that the Vendis they have had people that tried to escape, but not as far as these three have gone. And to know that like one of them out of the three is the most dangerous, they're like, we're not taking no risk with you. So that means the only people who actually escaped were Ken and Chikusa, whereas Mukuro was the one that stayed behind and allowed himself to be captured. Now, this does lead you to believe that Mukuro, in some shape, form of fashion, actually does care for Ken and Chikusa, at least as far as we know. We don't know about MM or the others, but as far as those two, he cares for them. And you have to think about it. He grew up with them. Ever since the old mafia family that they were with when they were kids, and they experimented on the children and everything. I believe it was the Astrino family experimenting on the children. They all have a common backstory. Not only that, they grew up with each other, just hating the mafia altogether. They grew up knowing that they don't want to live this type of lifestyle, and for the people that hurt them, that's who they're going to go after. So for Ken and Chikusa, Mukuro is their savior. So of course it makes sense that Mukuro will put their safety and well-being before his, despite what we saw in the Kyoko arc where he was using their bodies. Given their relationship, Ken and Chikusa would not mind giving up themselves if it means Mukuro accomplishes his dreams, right? So there's that. So now once Suna basically, you know, is seeing that, now it goes into where he now is starting to inhibit Chrome's body, right? And he's speaking to someone. But as he's speaking to that person, they're saying that like with Mukuro projecting himself or his self-conscious into Chrome's bodies, is say that he can't stay too long in her body before being sent back into his own, right? So the person he's talking to, who came to him while he's in Chrome's body, right? It's still Chrome, but he's using Chrome's body to communicate with this person. This person is coming to ask Mukuro sorry, to ask Mukuro that I want you to be Suna's Miss Guardian. And guess who that is? It wasn't Reborn. It was Suna's daddy. Just remember, either Reborn or Imitsu are the only ones allowed to figure out, scout out who is more fit to become Suna's guardians. Hence why Reborn was the one that, with Gokudera, Yamamoto, Ryohei, and then, he discusses with Imitsu, because at the end of the day, Imitsu is the advisor of the Vongola. So once it's run through and they say it's A-okay, you're now Suna's guardian. So it was Imitsu that appointed Mukuro as one of the guardians for Suna. Okay, and hence why Chrome came, and now eventually Mukuro, again projecting himself onto Chrome, has finally made his reappearance as a Miss Guardian, right? So this makes Suna realize that everything that has had happened from the end of the Kyoko arc up until this point made him realize that, truth be told, I never really understood Mukuro. And the thing was, even during the Kyoko arc, Suna never truly hated Mukuro. It's more like he just wondered why he was doing this, and he can understand why he was doing it, but the way he was doing it, there was never a true hatred or anger towards Mukuro. It was just more like him trying to understand Mukuro's motives, okay, and is wondering, like, how can I communicate with him? Remember, he also asked Reborn when they were showing flashbacks, and when Reborn was talking to Ken and Chikusa, Suna was asking Reborn, hey, how are they doing? Are they okay? Ever since they got taken away by the Vendis. So that tells you the type of character Suna is in that regard. And even here it shows again, he's like, yo, I really don't know nothing about Mukuro. Like, Mukuro left that effect on Suna. Out of all the people that you'll eventually see for Suna going up against, Mukuro left his mark the most. Hence why they kind of have that connection with each other. So now it goes back to the fight where many Mamons are trying to attack Mukuro, and they try to trap him in like the cloak and then start squeezing him, but Mukuro managed to break out with the vine flowers, the lotus vine flowers and everything, just looking mad majestic and everything. And then it ends off with Mukuro saying, descent into hell, then return again. That goes into his play of the 6 paths of reincarnation, that Mukuro died several times in order to get those 6 states. Okay, the Shura, animal path, human path, hell path. I forgot the last one, but he went through a lot in order to get the power that he currently has. So he's telling Mamon, you're going to go through these repetitions in order to understand. You're going to go through actual hell and then come back to tell me how it went, and I'll put you through it again. And it just ends off from there. Okay, that's how chapter 116 ends. And so Mukuro, as shown, as soon as he came into the scene, he has been dominating the fight. But it does leave you the question that, especially in the flashback that we saw, where he says, I can't stay in this body for too long. He is using Chrome's body. So it makes you wonder, what is the time limit for how long he can stay in Chrome's body? Is it like 5, 10? Is it anything like the, the 10-year bazooka where it's only granting you like 5 minutes or something? Because again, his physical body is chained up in a glass jar beneath many floors of the Vendi's prison. So for his power to stretch out that far, given the fact that more than likely the Vendi's is located in Italy, is impressive within itself. So it does make you wonder, like, how much longer can Mukuro stay out in terms of his consciousness staying out of his body. But other than that, and again, Mamon, they had started off or was going strong in last chapter, but they met their match. Okay, they definitely met their match in this chapter, and we got more intel on basically Mukuro's background in terms of what happened after the end of the Kyoko arc, and to see basically where he stands as well as Ken and Chikusa. So guys, Do tell me in the comment section below how you felt about Katekyo Hitman REBORN chapter 116. What do you think chapter 117 will be like? If you read the manga already or you watched the anime, how do you compare the two to each other? The links are in the description box, so you guys go check that out. And I'm Kimmy, channel of Anime Legends, and I will see you guys later. Bye. With